Hello, my name is Elijah Wells, and today's review is the Daniels' new movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. The story follows Evelyn, a Chinese immigrant who works as a laundrette that, would you say, is running into really rough territory when it comes to her taxes. So, she's been ordered by a tax officer who works for the IRS, who is played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Then, all of a sudden, from her husband, she's introduced to the multiverse, and during that meeting, she is unintentionally thrust into the multiverse, where she can interact in any way, shape, or form of all her versions of what she could have been. Like any decision she could have made, if she could have done anything different, like anything, like sushi chef, a movie actress, martial artist, a singer, and all that, or not be with her husband. Like there's like millions and millions of multiverses, including one where she's a lesbian with hot dog hands. Like it gets really bizarre at best. So her daughter Joy creates which is like a bagel like black hole which has the capability to wipe out her multiverses and killing everyone at all these multiverses all at once, of course. Directed by the Daniels, who at that point had directed credits like Turn Down for What featuring Lil Jon, and as well as the other A24 film, Swiss Army Man. This is definitely one of the more brightly coloured and definitely one of the more abstract and definitely one of the most in-your-face films you probably see, not just in a while, probably if ever. Like, I think this movie, in a weird sense, kind of reminded me of the 1966 Czech movie Daisies, where it's basically a visual assault on your senses. Like, it's basically just a lot of special effects and just a pure eye candy and a plot that's just as fun as it is nonsensical, yet it's also still fun. And what the movie really did remind me of is that I think if I give a bit of a tagline for the movie, it's essentially a Chinese woman who is starting to fall into hard times and has a really strained relationship with her daughter and her husband, but everyone has this mentality of like a Rick and Morty episode. If it was jacked up on the energy of like some Electro-Punk songs, like, I don't know, Death Grips, or The Prodigy, or LCD Soundsystem, type songs that will that go up from 1 to 60 with a snap of your fingers. Like, it's just a fiery ball of energy, that song, like, that film. Like, once it gets started, it never stops, it never slows down, it never makes you catch your breath. Like, it just goes. Like, it is unfathomable, like, how much can this movie do to, like, completely skull smash your senses. The movie, of course, by Daniels, it's definitely a really great movie, as it does deal with like externalism, as this is like self-contemplation, and a lot of that kind of gets thrown around here and there, everywhere, of course, all at once. And of course, nihilism, as that whole embodiment of nihilism is basically Joy, or Evelyn's daughter, who basically says there's nothing really left in this world, so I'm just going to destroy it. Basically like a Death Grip lyrics, like, or something like Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty, like you're pretty much been there, done that, there's nothing really there anymore, so, and everything sucks. Like, it kind of really dwells on that really well. The performances of all these actors involved, like Michelle Yeoh, and they're one of the actors who's basically the Asian kid from Indiana Jones. That's his like first major film for like well over 30 years now. And the performances are really great, and the imagination in this is actually really brilliant. Like, there's like dystopian like her version, but it's set in this dystopian future. There's one where it's Ratatouille in a weird sense, but it's just a raccoon controlling the chef's head. And one where she's a movie actress, a singer, and martial artist. Like, and even one where she's a rock, like sitting next to her daughter. And the craziness does not stop here. Like, there's one where she has hot dog for hands, like these weird long fingers with hot dog fingers. like salad fingers. And also Jamie Lee Curtis, who is absolutely brilliant in this movie, even though she has feuded with Marvel, being that, oh look at our little project, same thing, multiverse, but better, which, congrats Jamie, it's even better, just to give it away. A lot of people had made comparisons to this, to Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, which came out like less than a month ago now, or something like that, but I think the shortcomings of this movie were completely capitalized on this movie. Like the story was basically a mess at times. The writing wasn't that great, and of course, it was kind of a bit more horror oriented and a bit violent. This one is very comedically violent, on the same veins of Shaun of the Dead. Like I really like really abstract and really childish humor. Like there's an entire scene where Evelyn fights a horde of enemies with dildos and butt plugs. So, not exactly something for kids, but I like this kind of like childish humor where it's definitely serious, definitely silly, but never takes itself serious. Like, again, Shaun of the Dead. And of course, the tone-wise is really brilliant, really, really consistent. Like it's really wacky, but when it needs to tone down the wacky races of the tune, I think it goes into more serious territory. Definitely does go into more serious territory with Joy's nihilism and her bagel-shaped black hole, and what the repercussions of that would be. The film is shot really brilliantly. The gags are always on point in this movie, and this movie is just brilliant, to be honest. Like, I think it's basically a less abstract version of Daisies, but a more digestible version of said 1966 Czech film Daisies, where it's just basically a full-on assault on your senses, and it does not stop. And I kind of love it for it. Even how it's edited, it's pretty good. Like, it does ed between her universes and her current one that she's in, like how she's managed to translate these skills from other multiverses to her own multiverse. Like, there's one scene where she fights up a horde of enemies with a police shield and borrows from a multiverse where she becomes one of these billboard people that throws signs around and does some elaborate stunt work with these signposts. Like, it's not common in Britain, but it's very interesting how it was filmed and how it was edited all together. Like, that part really interests me in this film, as well as the creative post-production aspect of filmmaking. Like, that was really interesting, that stuff. Even when the movie does go as far as explain that movies basically tills into like generational trauma, like, I don't know, recent films like Turning Red or Encanto, like dwell into that a lot. Like, this one is no exception, it goes into that, as well as Joy's girlfriend, which does get a lot of attention throughout the movie, and her struggle to come out with her grandfather, who's kind of a bit of a jerk in front of Evelyn, his daughter. Like, and you can't understand why he doesn't respect her that much, even though this he does live with her as much. Basically, he's another Rick Sanchez, in another sense. To sum up the movie, this movie is just a massive, loud, and unabashedly amazing movie. Like, when the movie gets rolling, and it never stops at all. Like, it is, it's definitely a proudly messy movie. It's definitely a gorgeous movie. It's definitely a movie that will make you just get on the edge of your seats. It's a movie that will get you out of breath like very instantly, and it is definitely a extremely like brilliant movie when it dwells into themes of like mental health and identity and all that, and as well as being in this existential crisis. And the movie is shot, written, directed, acted, and edited amazingly. Like, everyone in that movie should really pat themselves on the back and do themselves a good favor. Like, we do need a lot more movies like this. Like, this mid-budget, like, really experimental, really in-your-face. And even best, have movies that are basically a better version of what Marvel just did. Like, last like last couple of weeks ago. Instead of being like being a mess that's kind of a little bit too hard to follow, this one is again a bit of a mess, but in a way that embraced it, like a camp factor and all that. So Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, I'm feeling a 9 to a 10 out of 10. So, what do you think of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once? Let me know in the comments what you thought about this movie, like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and this is Elijah Wells, and bye!